Hello everyone and welcome. At FRHI, our Restaurant Revenue Management Program is one of the pillars of our Total Hotel Profit Optimization Framework, alongside rooms, function space and spa. And we also have a whole host of process, people and culture programs to support it. At the same time, we're also working with the customer insights and big data concepts to integrate revenue management into it in order to drive this concept of total customer value. Now, our Restaurant Revenue Management Program was conceived about 2 years ago, and it was meant to drive several benefits to our organization. We wanted our food and beverage managers to truly understand their business with the use of data analytics and customer insights. We also saw a lot of opportunities to improve our individual server performance, to deliver better guest satisfaction and a higher consistency in terms of service. And of course, in more traditional revenue management format, we are looking at ability to forecast demand, understand it at a more granular level in order to be able to maximize revenue and profits from it. We are looking to drive operational efficiencies, and importantly at the end, we wanted to really build a culture around our revenue management practices. Now, the three strategic levers that we were operating the program around was in terms of managing time, space, and price. We created a very simple program that would enable our food and beverage managers as well as our Director of Revenue Management to understand what to apply during hot demand periods and what to apply during cold demand periods. So, for example, concepts like optimizing table mix and seat occupancy, being able to turn around your table during a high demand period so that you could have twice the number of guests walk into your restaurant. Managing the variability between how long a meal service should take. We had reservations concepts, we looked at menu engineering, menu design, pricing, as well as promotions and server tactics. And we helped to convey all of this through the application of here are your hot, busy periods, what should be done, and here are your cold periods, and what could be done as well. So let's have a look at some of these tactics in action. So at Bow Valley Grill, we created for all of our outlets very simple Excel tools that help to visualize their seat occupancy by day of week by hour. It was very apparent to the Director of Food and Beverage there that they had an opportunity during their Sunday brunch. Very high demand period. He was obviously already maximizing his turns. He had 2 turns at 80% and at 92% seat occupancy. Very well managed in general. So the next best thing to do would be to increase the price of the Sunday brunch. And that's exactly what he did, and the profits for that just went up 10% across the board. So the other area that we spend a lot of time across all of our outlets is in terms of mentoring server performance. We're able to now get a gauge of exactly how each individual server is performing and why it might be high or low. So imagine you have a restaurant, and for lunchtime, the average check is $16.45. Now this is made up of very high performing server, like the individual who's doing $19.80, as well as some not so well performing servers at $13.20. So we use a mentoring program to help to work with the bottom performing servers in order to drive their revenue and drive the average check up. Now this program has been very successful for the organization across the board, and we've driven up to $4 million in incremental annualized profit right to the bottom line. So let's have a look at a little bit of detail about how we do this by server. So we're able to provide analytics like this that helps us to understand how well each server is performing across the different categories: appetizers, entrees, desserts, and beverages. So let's have a look at server 9. The average check is $14, not the highest. And the reason for that is because this server is actually a superstar when it comes to selling appetizer. However, the person doesn't realize that by overselling appetizers, it's actually cannibalized their entree. Another server is doing much better in terms of average check, and that's because they're able to successfully sell a higher average check for entree. However, it is still not as high as the highest performing server, server 1 and 2, who are driving average checks up to $19. So why are they so successful? We can see that they're selling the more expensive entree items, which bring us higher profit. And they're also being able to recommend the more expensive and premium beverages that are again driving a higher average check, $4 in terms of beverage. So part of this whole program is to take the bottom performing servers in certain categories and pair them with a great performing server in that same category in order to help elevate the entire experience, not for the server only, but also for the guest. Another tactic that we use is menu engineering. We've created an in-house tool that is very simple and automated to use. We extract the price, we extract the volume, and we extract the cost in order to come up with this menu engineering grid that I think a lot of you should be quite familiar with. So we give simple recommendations about what to do with your stars. Clearly, you would want to highlight it on your menu so that you can sell more of these high contributing items. With cash cows, of course, a simple thing to do would be to change the pricing on your cash cows. Dogs is a category that you'll have to think about a little bit. You could either remove them from the menu because they're clearly not very popular, or alternatively, what you could do is you could increase the price and apply what we would call decoy pricing. So when your dogs look more expensive, it makes your stars look like they're much better value. Of course, for the puzzles are those that are really not that popular, but extremely profitable. So you could try and either redress it up on the menu, or you could highlight it on the menu and ask the servers to recommend it a little bit more. So then we end up with providing a simple kind of one sheet in order to show what you should be doing with each and every one of your dish based on this menu engineering. Let's have a look at menu engineering in practice. So here's our Tonga room in San Francisco. It sells a lot of cocktails, and we've found that the Mau Tai is the most popular cocktail. So it's one of our cash cow items. So what we did was we increased the price from $12 to $13. And we featured it as a signature cocktail. We also asked all of our servers to make sure that they would always go back to the tables and ask them, would you like another glass of Mau Tai? So although the number of patrons did not increase over this period, you could see the number of cocktails that were being sold overall based on this grew from 7,000 over to 10,000. So not surprisingly, the beverage mix went up and the beverage profit for this restaurant went up 22%, so highly successful. Another example of this is in the way we applied this at Jeannette, one of our fine dining restaurants. So we use menu engineering to observe and identify the high profit items. We jazzed up those dishes a little bit more, and we put a further supplement onto them because they were also very popular high demand items. And then we again applied the highlighting of these items into the menu, and we asked the servers to also actively recommend it. So again, great results, revenue exceeded budget, profit exceeded budget at Jeannette. Now, not all of our restaurants have such high demand items or such high demand occupancy periods. So at Mikuni, we had a little bit of an opportunity there with the robatayaki counter. The rest of the restaurants was doing very well. We did well in the open dining area, we did well in teppanyaki. So it was really just this counter that was very quiet over lunchtime. So how would we actually drive occupancy here with a promotion that will not cannibalize the rest of the restaurant? So we developed a set menu, $58, only consumable at the robatayaki counter, and we used social media, of course, to drive it through a very particular customer segment. So again, the counter seat occupancy went up, sales went up, and the overall performance for the restaurant, of course, improved year on year. Now, reservations is another area that's very, very critical to manage as part of your overall restaurant revenue management program. So this was a study done by Professor Sherry Kimes in Singapore. So if you have an individual who's looking to make a reservations with you for your evening dinner, now if you did not pick up the phone in the morning, 57% of them said, I'm very unlikely to be booking you at this restaurant. If I end up on a voicemail message, even when you call me back later in the day, 37% of them said, I'm unlikely to be making the reservations with you. And of course, by the time it comes close to dinner time at 7, and you are put on hold because the hostess is too busy, again, many of them are unlikely to even wait. So we took a look at the reservations flow pattern that was coming in through our hotel in the Fairmont here in Singapore, and we realized that the reservations for food and beverage closed at 7 o'clock and transferred all the calls to our restaurants. Now, between 7 to 8, there are quite a number of calls that are coming in, but the hostess at the restaurant, it's also their peak arrival time for their guests. So they have no time to pick up the phone, and so all of these phone calls went unanswered. So we did a simple thing like switch the reservation hours. We started an hour later, and we ended an hour later. And with this simple move, we were able to drive 1,000 incremental reservations to our hotel here in Singapore, and this would have been equivalent to about 50,000 or so incremental profit. And the next point that is very critical for this program is data quality. So we work with all of our hotels across 8 different types of data points in order to ensure that their data analytics is telling them the right thing. And finally, the most critical element of any of our revenue management programs is the development of culture. And this is now showcased by what's happening at our Savoy Hotel. The hotel is so excited about their restaurant revenue management program. There's a lot of competition going around. So you can hear now food and beverage managers, you can hear outlet managers, servers. They're saying things like, we really started to see year-on-year increase. We saw RevPAR grow by double digits across so many of our food and beverage outlets, record increases in F&B. And you hear terms of talking about extra seating because of high demand, day-of-week pricing, and essentially, as is captured well here, there is healthy competition among our outlets. So here is Kieran McDonald, the MD of our hotel in Savoy, saying that it's really been a journey for them to move from revenue management to this concept of total hotel profit optimization. And they see this culture that's been brought together at the hotel as being the kind of glue that brings it all together. With that, thank you very much.